A very good evening to all of us. We welcome you to the beautiful evening and we represent you to the Business Opportunity of a Chai webinar series. We welcome our panelist, Chairman, Franchiseindia Group, Gaurav Sir, and our MD, Sonia Ma'am, to this particular session. We also welcome our speaker of the day, representing brand of the day, Sporty Beans. We have Karan Sareen to represent this particular brand to each one of us. Sporty Beans already running their 65 plus centers. It's a multi-sports. It's most reputed, India's most reputed multi-sports program brand for each one of us. With this welcome, with this introduction, I welcome Karan to take it further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Archana, for the warm welcome. Thank you, Mr. Maria. Thank you, Sonia. Let me start by explaining to you, let me start by giving you a brief, right, of what Sporty Beans is all about. Sporty Beans is a sports program for children, right? Is a sports program, is India's most reputed non-competitive sports program for children between the ages of 2 years to 8 years, right? Sporty Beans introduces children to the fundamental concepts and skills of 9 popular ball sports, right? Namely football, basketball, volleyball, baseball, cricket, golf, hockey, tennis, and rugby. The program, more importantly, right, focuses on and tries to develop a strong foundation in children through sport by which they can actually learn, many aspects in their lives, right? So the objective behind this is to develop life skills for children, right? Life skills such as concentration, confidence, right? Sportsmanship values, social interaction, and many more. We at Sporty Beans, let me give you a brief of how the company started, when the company started, right? Company was founded in the year 2009, again, with the sole purpose of wanting to introduce a structured sports program to small children again, who are in the age group of 2 years to 8 years, right, especially, right? Even today, right, if we see, if you have a 2-year-old child or a 3-year-old child, the problem that actually we started, why the reason the business started in 2009, I say that the problem exists even today, right? When I say that, if you have a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old child, and if you take them to a sports coaching institute or a sports coaching academy, right, what are you told, right? You're actually turned down even today. The child is not admitted, the child is not enrolled. And what are the reasons that are given to you during that time, right? That the child is too young, the child is very, very small, the bones are still not developed in the child, right? And this is not the age for him to be learning sport. Please get him actually when he turns 8 years old or 9 years old. So we saw this, right? We understood this. And we also believed one thing, that, if a child was ready to go to school at an early age of even 1.5 years, why is the child not ready to play? When playing is actually the inherent quality that is there in children. So we at Sporty Beans, what we want to do is we want to channelize their energy, we want to harness their energy in a productive manner, and hence we actually came up with this program of Sporty Beans. Right now, today we operate more than 60 plus centers in 25 cities pan India, and we run in metros, in semi-metros, in tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 cities. To put in a nutshell, right, and to give you all an understanding of actually, and to put this into perspective, Sporty Beans is a platform where we actually expose small children, or the small children get an opportunity, right, to get exposed to 9 different sports, and then pick and choose one particular sport of their liking and their interest as they move ahead in the program. So which means that we have, meaning to say that the child actually is put through the multi-sport program or the 9-sport program first, which is our flagship program, post which then he actually goes on to the 3-sport program or the focused sport program, and then finally he moves on to the single sport program. right? So a child who actually enrolls with us at Sporty Beans at the age of right up to the age of 8 years or even more, right? Now, Sporty Beans has the requirements of the business model, right, are such that we need two basic things, to start or to take up the franchise, for any prospective investor. The first thing being space, right? So we need at least 1,500 to 2,000 square feet of space, right? Which means that the space can either be an indoor location or it can even be done outdoors. When we say that it's an indoor location, it can be a hall type of a place, but it's got to be a clear area without any partitions, without any pillars in the middle. And if it is done outdoors, it can be done on ground, it can be done on lawn, it can be done on grass, but it's got to be a flat surface, right? So that is your first requirement. Now here, the company, Sporty Beans, actually will help you to find space in the locality where you want to open the center. So we have our business development team. We have our people who will come with you on ground and who will help you, who will handhold you, and who will find the right location for our program, because we again understand our program very, very well. So we help you, we support you to find space for the program, right? This is the first requirement for the business. Second requirement being the investment. Now the investment in the business is 3.5 lakh rupees. Now I say this and I call it loud that this is a low investment and a high return opportunity for anyone, right? Now the breakup for 3.5 lakh rupees is that 2 lakh rupees is the franchise fee and 1.5 lakh rupees is for the sports equipment, right? The 2 lakh rupees is franchise fee that one pays us is a one-time lifetime franchise fee that we take from our business partner. So we sign a contract with you for a period of 3 years. On expiry of the contract, we renew the contract free of cost without charging any franchise fee. With the sports equipment part, the 1.5 lakh rupees that you give us towards sports equipment is actually gone in sourcing for the equipment, from 3 to 4 different countries abroad. And we ensure that we supply foam-based material, which is child size and child safe. So even during the program, there is absolutely no eventuality and the children do not get hurt. Every center at Sporty Beans, right, must have at least a minimum of 2 to 3 coaches, right? Now here also the Sporty Beans as a company, we will help you, we will handhold you, and we will assist you to recruit your team and to get them on board, right? Because we understand the right fit profile for this job. So we will entirely help you in the process of recruiting your team. Once your team is recruited, then we will put them through the training process, right? Now, once you've invested the money, right? So of course, the next question on everyone's mind will be that, okay, fine, I've put in the 3.5 lakh rupees. How am I going to get my money back? What is the return? What is the ROI? So here we at Sporty Beans say that the return is directly proportional to the number of students that you enroll in the first year of your operation, right? So, I mean, a number between 35 to 40 children will be able to get your return back in a period of 12 months time. So in a period of 1 year, in a time frame of 1 year, you will be able to get your money back. You'll be able to get your ROI. You'll be able to get your money out, the money that you've invested, right? Now, I also need to explain to you, the structure of the program. How does the program run, right? This being an after-school program, right? So we run between the time band of 4 to 7 o'clock. The age band that we are catering to, like I said a few minutes ago, is children between 2 years to 8 years, right? Meaning to say that this age band is further classified into 3 groups. So we have a 2 to 4-year-old age group, right? Then we have a 4 to 6-year-old age group, and we have a 6 to 8-year-old age group, right? Each child who enrolls with us at Sporty Beans is enrolling for a minimum of 1 term. Now, 1 term with us is 3 months. In these 3 months, the child comes 2 times in a week and he comes for 1 hour each, right? So the 2 days the child comes for becomes 1 batch day for you. Now, in 1 batch day, you are able to run 3 batches or 3 sessions between 4 to 7 o'clock. So which means 4 to 5 o'clock is going to be for one particular age group, 1 hour, 5 to 6 o'clock for another, the second hour, and 6 to 7 o'clock, the third, for the third age group, right? Now, each child actually, or each session, right, will have about 18 to 20 students at one time. You can take about 18 to 20 at one time, right? Meaning to say that in full batch capacity, right, you will have close to 54 to 60 students enrolled with you. Now, if 2 days of the week, right, just to give you an understanding of actually what the total center capacity can be, that if in 2 days of the week, by running 3 sessions, right, you can have about, say, 60 students on board or enrolled with you. In 6 days of the week, considering one day as a weekly off, right, and running 9 batches, you can have close to about 170 to 180 children enrolled. But we at Sporty Beans do not expect you to have 170 students to break even. We don't want you to enroll 170 students to be able to break even actually, or to be able to get your money out, the 3.5 lakh rupees that you put into the business. We say just at 40 students, right, which is close to 25 to 30% of your center utilization capacity. If you are able to enroll about 35 to 40 students, your money, you will be able to get your return and your investment will be out, right? Now, I also like to explain to you that we have a very strong revenue generator called as the in-school program. Now, what is the in-school program, right? In-school program is nothing but that we actually, now the center, wherever we open the center, for example, right, there will be a lot of preschools around in the vicinity. So we again, as Sporty Beans, right, as a brand, as a company, we will help you, our team will actually help you to tie up, right, with the various preschools which are there in your vicinity. So if you are able to tie up with 2 to 3 good preschools, every preschool today has more than 100, 150 children, right? So meaning to say that at one go, if you're able to get about 2, 3 types of schools, you will be addressing about close to 200, 300 students at one time. Now that's the volume for us, right? And even if you charge a 500 rupee fee, right? So what Sporty Beans does is we are integrating our program in the morning time during school hours, right? And when we do that, right, you, even if you charge a minimum fee of say 500 rupees per student per month, you will be able to get in a revenue in excess of 1.5 lakh rupees only through this revenue stream of an in-school program, right? Now there are few other highlights as well, right? In Sporty Beans, we have Yuvraj Singh, right, who the ace cricketer and celebrity Yuvraj Singh, who endorses our brand. So he not only endorses our brand, I mean, by virtue of actually being the brand ambassador, right, he's also picked up a minority stake in the company, right? He saw our program. I mean, he thought that there was great promise in our program, and our association actually with Yuvraj Singh dates back to 2015. So it's been almost about 5 years that we have been associated with him, and we get a lot of inputs from Yuvraj and Yuvraj's team, right, on the curriculum part, right? And also actually, I mean, he was, when he came on board, right, the reason actually for him to join us was that he saw promise, like I said, and also he thought that actually this is something that, you know, nobody else really thought of, or nobody else was actually introducing sports to children of this particular age group, right? Now, I mean, having said this, now this is a business model that we have been doing with our business partners till now, right? What is the situation that everyone is facing today, right? Everyone is aware of the situation. Yeah, we are all at home, right? And we all actually need to innovate. We need to create, right? We need to understand that actually, I mean, the kind of situation that we are in, it could actually be in for the long haul, right? Especially when we're dealing with small children, right? So we at Sporty Beans have also come up with an online model, right, for our children. And to tell you, I'm not surprised at all, but we have, it's been received with great positivity, not only from our business partners, but even actually from our parent community. What we want to do is, or what we are doing is, we want to explain to the parents, we want to explain and we want to reach the parents' better sense that today's physical fitness, right, or a physical well-being of the child is extremely important. We do not want you to get into a sedentary mode. We do not want your child to become a couch potato. We do not want your child to only be watching television. We do not only want your child to get addicted to electronic devices, mobiles and tablets and video games and etc. Right? So we want you to dedicate at least half an hour, 3 times in a week, right? Where we will come online and we will actually provide sessions to you. Our coaches, our trained coaches will run those sessions. So we've actually built a module in such a short period of time. We built a module and we've gone to the market to the parents, right? And we've approached them and we've received a positive response from them from their side. You know, we also have a short video. Archana, if you can hear me, we have a short video, and I mean, if you could just run that video for us right now, Archana, we'll just give everybody an idea of what exactly I am talking about, because we've got a lot of parents, we've got a lot of our business partners who have taken this initiative, who've gone and taken that extra mile, and they, from their side, now we have certain video footage, and we've requested parents to give us, we've requested our business partners to give us, and we would like to share that video footage with you here. Thank you, Archana. Archana, if you could just put the presentation back on. Yeah, thank you, Archana. Archana, could you go to the last but one slide of ours where the support that we provide a business partner? I'm not able to change the slides here. Yeah, thank you. So everyone, so now having said this and giving you actually, what we are doing right now currently and what our flagship program is and what we do actually at our centers, right? I'd also just like to quickly run you through the franchises support, the support that we provide you as a business partner, right? So we, like I said, we provide support in setup, right? Now, when you say setup, right, we say, like I said, that, our team will actually help you to finalize the location in your city. Recruitment. Yes, our team will also actually help you, assist you, handhold you to get the right kind of profile on board, because again, we have a good understanding of the right fit profile for this particular job. The training. Now, the training is conducted in several phases, right? So phase one of training is where the franchisor, right, is going to be actually giving the owner or the franchisee the owner orientation program or the owner training program, right? After that, once your team is recruited, we will then actually give a training to your team as well. So this is the first phase of training, right? The next few phases happen at your center. So our head coach will visit you, right, will visit you actually at a frequency of every quarter, every 3 months, right, where we will actually check, we will monitor, right, and we will actually see that whether whatever has been taught to you during the training program, whether it's actually being implemented in the right fashion or no, right? There could be certain teething problems, right? There could be certain actually queries, there could be certain actually issues that you're not able to deliver in the curriculum. So all of that actually will be done, right, in person to you, and we will help you with the training process, right? So equipment sourcing. So we actually source the equipment, right, from 3 to 4 different countries abroad, and we ensure that the equipment is all rubberized foam-based material and is all safe and child-sized material that we supply to you for our children, right? The technology support. Now, Sporty Beans has an app, right? The app is available on both the platforms. It's available on the iOS platform, and it's available actually even on the Android platform, right? So that we push you to use this, to give it to your parents, because you can continuously keep updating them. You can keep actually putting up videos, you can keep putting up pictures, you can put up actually your new batches that you're starting and everything. So as a technology support, we are even providing this to you from our side. Right now, advertisement and promotion. Now, when we say advertisement, right? So we help you as a franchisor, right? Like I said, today we have more than 60 plus centers, right? So we have an understanding of what really actually works for our business, right? Where the money should go so that you are able to generate enough leads, where the money actually should be spent so that we are able to actually get enough eyeballs for our business, right? So we will actually help you devise a marketing calendar. So not only for the launch of your center, to the run up of the launch of your center, but even actually through the year, what are the marketing activities that we've learned over all these years, right? That you should be doing and you should be executing actually in your own city. Also, Sporty Beans is again one of the very few after school programs, and I can say that actually with great pride, is that we have a tie up with the Times of India or the Times of India Media Network, right? Meaning to say that we help you in advertising, right? So if supposing you want to do a print ad, or you want to do a radio campaign, or you want to do an outdoor campaign, for example, right? We will pitch in, right? Actually, we will contribute 65% of those ad spends, right? For you, for your business, for our business partners, for your center to get stable, for your center to grow, and only 35% of that cost has to be borne by you, right? With this, Archana, I would like to open the session for question answers. If there are any questions for me, I'd love to answer them and clear all doubts. Thank you.
Thanks, Karan. Thank you for making for this special edition. We are very delighted to have you, and we are at Franchiseindia greatest association with all three founders of Sporty Beans, and including Yuvraj Singh, an additional investor in your company, and also with the brand for 10 to 11 years now. And we've seen the commitment all three of you have put in for the business, for sheer love of that business, because I feel that this business is not for everybody. People who have some passion and some responsibility, because it's a very responsible business, because you're dealing with kids. And also I feel that this business involves a lot of your personal involvement, not so much on time, but as being a responsible business, you need to deal with parents and younger kids and so on and so forth. So I remember the day when I first met you. I think I was in Pune hotel, and you kindly gave me invitation to come and see your program at Pune Club. And I went there and I saw your younger brother actually running and conducted the program. And that gave me a lot of answers, because I had two doubts that time in my mind. One, how can you get a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old to get into some symmetry and get focused and play a sport, because 4 years is all over, and they're not having any form of symmetry. And I was shockingly surprised that they were more disciplined than even grown up sports people playing. They were in order, they were in symmetry, they were following instructions, and they were, more importantly, kids were enjoying it. So I think that moment gave me an answer that this is a very positive business. If you are bringing in a positive change in what I call early learning or early activity for kids, this is a great combination of what I call with a lot of activity and inbuilt learning. So there were a lot of human learnings come from this program, which help kids in their growing up years. They also able to able to align working. I mean, especially now because all the kids are in the homes, and they are not in community, and people are having only one child now, and sometimes it becomes even more difficult because they're in the, I would say, wrong company. Sometimes parents feel that if a kid is only with you all the time, it's actually wrong, because kids should be in the company of kids. Kids should not be in the company of adults, even including your parents. And you should, obviously parents can be there, but they need to spend more time with their peers and understand their level, that they have their own learning curves, which they have to only get it from their own age group. So I should compliment you. That's a great program you have built in. You had a great success, a very stable company for over the time. You've been very focused. You never went out and overdid franchising, because your selection criteria, I remember, is also very important, because you don't give franchise to everybody, because whosoever is not capable of somebody who doesn't understand the sensitivity of handling kids. It's not just a investment model. It needs a little more than that. So just for our audience, I think what I captured from Karan's discussion, this is a new model they have introduced, especially because they understand that a lot of things would change post the COVID. I saw somebody writing that what would change in the post-COVID situation. So they have obviously integrated technology. So a lot of trainings are done online. Even kids at home, when they're not coming for physical classes, they can still get that structure. So what I understand, and you can correct me wrong, you have on-site training, which means that I become a franchisee, I will get a full kit. Maybe I use my own car. I can go and rent out a place, maybe in a school or a club or any other open garden, and I can run my program. And I can enroll kids, and kids would come to that destination. So that's the on-site training. Then you also would work on destinations, which means that a lot of kids now don't want to go outside RWA. All the gated communities are all safe. And somebody who asked a question, kids are still playing on ground floor, but they're not going outside RWA. So it's a great program now, because that's what people would like. They would not like to send a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old outside. So it would be a great opportunity if somebody can really come down to their RWA and conduct a program. So it can be on demand kind of a program, which you can do it for one big RWA, because now there's a big societies with 1,000 flats and so on and so forth. So only for that can be done. Then you also have a program only for preschools. So preschool owners can engage you directly, and they can run a program. And then I think I have also heard that you do a lot of Sporty Beans, other initiatives like Sporty Beans birthday parties, which are very attractive because kids can hold these parties. So there is a lot of business streams, which makes this business model much more sustainable. The investment is just about 3.5 lakh rupees. I don't see any businesses I would know which comes in that price points. So it's very attractive, and you have done it purely because you feel that at this stage, a lot of people would like businesses like these because they are cost effective. So very low capex and very, very low opex, because you don't need too many people. This business is also attractive because it's still flexible, because you only use evening hours, and you have the day available with you. If people are running some other business, they can concentrate there, and then you have to put a couple of hours in the evening. And now I will have Sonia come in, if she can take up a few questions which audience is asking, and then we will like to have more viewpoint from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karan, for taking it up this evening. And we've been seeing you and your brand past many years. I remember a time when this particular industry was very new. And globally also, this has become very big. Today, parents' viewpoint on sports has completely changed. They don't treat this as a luxury, rather a necessity. And most of the neighborhoods that we live in don't have an infrastructure like that, where kids can go out and have a guided program like that. And it reminds me of the time that we were growing up, we never had these virtual games. We had almost zero screen time. But today's children, when you see, they have so much of screens, and there's so much of activities which happen inside. And I see there is a very conscious effort from the parents' side to really push their children out on the ground to be physically active. And also, with this format, I see there's in our communities, there's a lack of safe environment and spaces, where children can actually enjoy guided sport like you, which is age appropriate. There's a lot of fun and convenience in the business. And the most, I would say, beauty of this model is that you don't need any real estate. These are times where the highest cost for any business is rentals, the occupancy cost, operations cost. I'm seeing wants to understand what kind of operating expenses would there be. But we don't need any real estate. There is no investment one ends up making in the initial infrastructure. There's no interiors being done. So I feel this is a very good investment for anybody who wants to take it up. And for the investors, I would also say, this is a part-time business, but still you need to put your own time. Don't treat this as an investment, it's a very active business. It's not a passive investment. While there's a low risk and a low investment in the business, but requires a lot of your time, and the franchisee himself needs to have the entire training. If I give you example of Karan and his brother and the inner circle, his entire family and friend circle are the core teams, and they've divided amongst themselves all the functions, from marketing to expansion to operations of the business. And that's the kind of profile of people that we typically need in a business like this. So Karan, I'll take up some questions which have come up, and I'll and I don't know if you've gone through any of these. Somebody's asked what kind of training is needed. He's somebody from Coimbatore, and he says he's keen to take it up, but is there any need to attend a formal training structure? And if there is, what kind of trainings are these? These are on the ground as somebody visits you and takes the training. It will happen at their premise. How this training is structured?
Right. So so training is required. Yes, definitely. And when we say that what kind of training and what structure of training, see, the owner training and the coaches training right now, what we are doing is we're doing it online. We're doing it virtual. So we're doing it through the video conferencing apps, right? And so we save the trouble actually of people traveling from one point to another point, from one location to another. And the person can actually, can stay in the safety of his house, and we can impart the training. So the training actually module has been divided into about, say, 5 to 7 days. Right. So a 2-day training will be conducted for the owner, for the franchise owner, and about a 4 to 5-day training actually will be conducted for the coaches, after the coaches are on board. So yes, there is a formal training process that anyone and everyone actually who takes up the business has to go through. Number one. Number two, once you set up your center, right, once maybe in about 3 months, 4 months, maybe, as time goes by, and once we get the permission, right, once things start easing out a little bit, and once you're able to actually even start the center in your location, right, or in outdoors, off-site location, right, that time, right, there will also be somebody from our side who will visit you, right? So we will actually upgrade your skills. Number one, we will check whatever has been taught to you, whether it being delivered actually to the children in that fashion or no. So there will be a lot of hand holding that we will do. And this process actually of training, or the structure as we say, right, is every quarter. So we send a head coach to you every 3 months, right? So the coach is actually helping understand that, whether what is happening, whether the delivery part or the execution part actually at the center to the children, the sessions, whether they are being conducted in the right manner, number one. Number two, there could be a lot of issues. There could be a lot of actually teething problems that the franchisees are having. So we would like to be there. We would like to be there in person. We would like to understand from their team, from the franchise owner, that what is the problem that they're facing, and then we actually be there and we resolve it. So yes, so this training process actually will be conducted right now in this stage, or the training actually will be conducted over a video conference.
Okay, now maybe extending this question further, there's a separate coaching which is done for the coaches and the field, and somebody would like to know, because a lot of sports which are involved, and they don't, they like to understand how somebody could be coached on all these sports, and is there a separate module which is required, a special qualification of these people which need to be hired as a coach?
Right, right. Good question. Right question. See, when you're looking at actually a coach, right, also understand the kind of age group that we are dealing with. Right, we are dealing with a very young age group. We are dealing with children actually who are preschool goers, who are pre-primary school goers, basically. Right. So we are not looking at any professional coach. We're not looking at anybody actually related to any sports background. Right. Now, the reason why I say this is because it's going to be very difficult actually for those kind of people to unlearn and relearn our methodology, right? Our methodology is actually for small children. They have never taught small children, right? They've taught children who are 14 years plus, 12 years plus, under 14s, under 17s, right? And they have a very different way, very different methodology of teaching that age group. But with us, our methodology is extremely different, right? So we are looking at college going boys and girls, right, who understand the children of this particular age group, number one. Number two, who also actually like being around this particular age group. And number three, very importantly, is that they should have the patience to deal, with these children of this particular age.
Interesting. And I was about to say that I think I remember when I visited your center, we had very passionate young boys and girls, college going, who were doing part time. And most of them were very regular. I didn't find you actually in a fix, and they used to be very regular in their classes, used to show up on time. Okay, then we have received, he wants to know, since we have Yuvraj as a brand ambassador, are we in a position to use him in any kind of marketing, collaterals, communication, which they do at the local level? We can do that.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And in fact, I mean, we say that, I mean, we are proud to be associated with Yuvraj Singh, number one. Number two, we attach this as a huge credibility to our brand, right? And we want to showcase, we want you, right, as our business partner, as our extended family, to showcase this credibility to the parent community. You can use him in every collateral. So, I mean, there are a lot of creatives, there are a lot of designs, a lot of artwork, right, that we supply, you from our side, right? So all of that is going to have Yuvraj Singh, right? If you have anything in particular, if you have anything in specific that you want us to do, right, with Yuvraj Singh, we will actually even do that for you. So yes, you must use Yuvraj Singh in every marketing collateral and every communication that you're making out to your end consumer.
Okay, Karan, would you like to have our viewers give some understanding on the kind of fee structure you have, and does it vary based on the city tier 1, 2, because Pune, Delhi, these are bigger cities, we can demand a higher fee. Is there a fee structure based on the city that we get in, and what kind of fees are we charging, and how is it? Is it quarterly, annual, monthly? What kind of structure are we following?
Right. Good question. Sonia, what we do is, like, now we're running about 60 plus centers, and we're running them actually across metros and semi-metros and tier 1, 2, 3 cities. So our fee structure actually starts at 1,500 rupees, right, per month per child, and goes up to even about, say, 4,500 or 5,000 rupees per month per child. Again, like you said very rightly, depending on the city that you are existing in, depending on the city that you're running the center in, right? So even in a city, for example, just to take this point a little further, is that you may actually have different fee structures, right? Because it is dependent on the payment capacity of the location or the population that we are targeting. So we need to assess who the TG is, right? So who is our target group, right? What is the payment capacity? What is somebody paying for school fees? What is somebody paying for an after-school program there, right? What is somebody paying actually as preschool fees there? So depending on this, right, and the information that we get actually from this, then we assess, and then we actually together mutually with the business partner, we decide on the fee structure. But just to give you a range, the range starts at 1,500 rupees, right, and goes up to even about 4,500 to 5,000 rupees, again, depending on the city that you're in.
Okay, and just to add on that, there are many other programs that you do, which are summer camps, which is an additional income apart from the regular quarterly or monthly fees that we take from these children, if I'm right.
Absolutely right. Okay. Absolutely
So
right.
I have a list of questions which has come from the gentleman, Mr. Manohar NC, and he wants to know a couple of things. And I think this is one question which we hear many people asking about, which is a lot of parents would want their kid to be performing, and they want their kids to become champions. How the faculty is trained and any examinations which are conducted, So he basically wants to know the kind of structure of this. Is it professional, and is there a course for kids beyond the age of 15?
Right, right.
And tournament, I would add another tournament, any tournaments which Sporty Beans would organize at any level,
Right,
state level, city level.
right. Absolutely. So I'll put this into perspective, right? One, Mr. Manohar, the thing is that we are dealing with a very small, very actually young age group, right? When we're saying that we're dealing actually with children who are between 2 years to 8 years, right? Our program is not about making them sports stars. Our program is not to kind of actually create the next Sachin Tendulkar or to create the next Tiger Woods or to actually have the next Virat Kohli emerge out of Sporty Beans, right? What are we doing at this age, right? Like I said, that I mean, today's day and age, there are so many addictions, there are so many problems that parents, like us, we are facing actually day to day with our children, right? What are those problems? Those problems are obesity, right? Those problems are sedentary lifestyle. Those problems are addiction to electronic devices. Those problems are actually getting hooked onto maybe the mobile or getting hooked onto television or cartoons or video games, etc. What do we want to do? We are actually, as Sporty Beans, like I said, that we are a platform that we want children to develop the interest in sports. We want to develop their interest. We want to develop, and some of them, right? And let me tell you, I can give you examples actually from our own center, that some of them can even actually, who are passionate about the game, who from the multi-sport program to finally the single sport program, when they stay with us right through 2 years to 8 years, can actually take up a sport in a serious way. So once a child actually finishes, or maybe like if I can say that he graduates from Sporty Beans at the age of 8, right? I mean, they can stay with us for a little longer as well. I mean, even maybe actually at 9 or 10 after they graduate. So we help them to actually progress, or we help them to get a mainstream academy, right? So supposing if somebody is good in football, supposing somebody is good in tennis, supposing somebody is good in cricket, or suppose somebody is good in basketball. So we actually help them transition from Sporty Beans to a mainstream academy. So, but what is the role of Sporty Beans? The role of Sporty Beans is very, very clear, that we want to instill the love. We want to actually instill physical fitness. We want to make it part of their routine. So even if a child is not passionate enough to actually, take it professional or take it to the next level after 8 years or 9 years, but he can still actually have the love for being physically fit, right? So this is what Sporty Beans is about.
Great, Karan. There's somebody who wants to understand on we talked about initial capital investment, which is very low. What are the kind of operating expenses which are involved, and what is the ideal month when the ROI, or I would say not the ROI, but maybe a break even on the operational cost can be achieved? Somebody has put a question, it's only after having 40 kids they should be able to have that operational break even, or every center would have a different structure of the cost, and what is it based on your own experience of running these 65 centers?
Right, right. So when you talk about the operational cost, the OPEX is clear, is the rentals, right? Number one is the salaries for the coaches. Number two is the royalty that you pay the brand Sporty Beans. Number three, and number four will be a little bit of miscellaneous cost that you incur every month. Now, we say that the rental, right, for our business, now since we are operating our program between 4 and 7 o'clock, right? So this is like an evening time band, and it's a timeshare basis. So even when we as a team or our real estate team will actually help on ground, will actually go and finalize sites or finalize the location for our business partner, we actually will finalize even the terms of the rentals for them, which means, meaning to say that we ensure that the rentals are either on a revenue share basis, number one, because we are using the space only for about 2 to 3 hours in a day. Number two, Number one. Number two, if they are not agreeing on a revenue share basis, we ensure that the fixed rentals do not cross more than 15 to 20,000 rupees. But again, that depends on the number of days that you're using the venue for, right? So that is number one. Number two, when you look at coaches, right? So what are the salaries for coaches? Right now, the coaches for salaries, the coaches' salaries are calculated actually in a manner of the number of days or the number of batches that they are actually consuming, right? So, I mean, one batch day, like I explained, batches, and you can have about 60 children, right? So, which means to say that, I mean, a coach, if he's taking up one batch day, he's coming for 6 hours in a week, and he comes for a total of 24 hours in a month. So for 24 hours in a month, we are giving a coach about close to 3,500 to 4,000 rupees as salary. Now, your royalty is again dependent on the numbers, that you enroll, right? And thirdly, the miscellaneous cost could be your travel cost, right? Could be your mobile phone bill, could be your housekeeping, costs that you incur at the center, right? So these are the OPEX. Now, when you also spoke, Sonia, you also actually asked me a question about the break-even time, right? And how can one break even with 40 students? Now, we say that 40 students, right? You must, if you are able to actually get about 40 students in the first year, enroll 40 students in the first year of your operation and maintain that student base, right? For about 9 months, right? You will be able to actually break even in 1 year time. Right now, we've taken to calculate the break even. Yes, to calculate the break even, we have taken the fee structure at 2,000 rupees. So a lot of our centers, I mean, if you look at tier 1 cities, metros, semi-metros, even tier 2 cities, right, they are okay with actually paying 2,000 rupees per month, for this particular, as a fee, per month for their child.
Thanks. Karan, I heard you talking about omni-channel, where you have a presence online and there's some digital programs, or, the kids can come online. There's also preschools where a tie-up can be done by the franchisee. And there is one franchisee that he would run in any of the premises, be it a community center or any of the clubs. So by taking one franchise from you, he gets automatic access or a default access to the schools in the neighborhood, or there's a separate fee to all that channels that he needs to pay over and above.
Correct.
And second question maybe adding to that is because 1,500 we can charge maybe in the community centers. Will there be subsidized rates for programs which are being run in the schools?
Yes. Right. So good perspective. Sonia, the thing is that now when we are actually giving out a franchise, right? So we are giving an exclusivity radius of about 3 kilometers to the business partner. So within the 3 kilometer radius, right, which is his exclusive territory, right, he can have n number of tie-ups. He can actually have n number of schools, for example. He can go to n number of RWAs, for example. He can actually go to a lot of housing societies which are there. He can go to gated communities that are there, right? So that is his area, that is his territory. And he can do everything that he wants and anything that he wants actually, within the policies of the brand, right? Number one. Number two, sorry, can you repeat the second question that you said, Sonia?
I said, is there a subsidized rate that one could offer in schools? And who would govern that?
Yeah. Correct. So what we do is that we actually play it by ear, right? So when I say we play it by ear, what it means is that we go to every school, right? We understand the kind of, the structure that they want us to tie up with us for, right? For example, actually, I mean, if there is a school which has, now in Chennai, there was a school actually which had 600 children. Now, they were not ready to pay 500 rupees per month, right? But they wanted an economical cost. They wanted a good cost because they are actually willing to give us 610 children, in one shot, right? So we got down the fee, right? So we got it down to 150 rupees for them. So it's like we play it by ear. We actually go to the school. We understand their requirement. We understand what they want from us. There are certain schools who say that, listen, okay, fine, we can actually give you only 1 day in a week, right? We cannot give you actually more time, right? Because, we have our own schedule. We have our own routine, for example, right? So then we actually, decide the fee structure the deal accordingly. There are certain schools who say, okay, listen, okay, we want minimum 2 days in a week from you. So then what is going to be the cost? So what we do is we actually back calculate it, right? To arrive actually at a fee structure, we actually look at our cost. What is going to be our cost? What is going to be, for us to actually take the equipment there? What is going to be for us to actually get the coaches on board, right? How many sessions, if they're going to be 300 children, how many sessions will the coaches actually have to deliver? How many hours are the coaches going to be putting in? So all this is the background of how actually a deal is in, or how price is offered to a school, depending on actually the situation we understand from the school during our meeting.
Okay. And Karan, there's somebody who wants to know if there's a possibility of providing territorial exclusivity. I'm not too sure if he's referring to a master or an area franchise, right? So do we have a provision of awarding a area franchisee?
Exclusivity that you will not give, say, big city like Mumbai, what is the territorial restriction you will give it to one unit? How many kilometers you will not open up another, or some penetration would happen? And also, as I said, is there a policy of a master franchise or area franchise? You would like to talk about it?
And Karan, I have another question, because a lot of neighborhoods you would see, there are a lot of preschools in the same neighborhood, right? For example, the place I stay, I have almost every top schools of Delhi NCR operating out of here. So you will find many of these pockets where you have almost every preschool or every K-12 school running and operating. How would a franchisee benefit if he is not from that location? If I have an access to all the schools across, I do it. If somebody doesn't come in that radius or kilometer, what kind of protection or extra revenue can he make on a model like this? Or how would you segregate basically?
Okay. So, what we do is, we go back. I will actually take you back to understand our model a little bit more clearly, right? So when we say that we are actually giving an area, right? Or when we say that, we are granting an area, we normally actually choose an area, right, which is in a residential community, right, for obvious reasons. Because, we are small children, right? Parents have to pick and drop them up. So it has to be easily accessible. It should be convenient for them to reach. Yeah. In time, it shouldn't be more than 10 minutes journey for them to pick and drop the child. Number one. Number two, we also actually see that there are good amount of preschools in that vicinity. So we will not open, or we will not suggest a business partner to open actually if there are no preschools, right? So if there are preschools, we understand that, okay, fine, that there is a good catchment for us. Why? Because we are dealing actually with a preschool age group, right? We're dealing actually with children. Our target group, our children are preschoolers, are preschool goers, right? So we say that, when we actually decide a location, we look at the fitment. For us, the fitment is that there has to be, it's got to be actually in the vicinity where you have at least about 10 to 15 preschools. If you have 10 to 15 preschools, then that is a potential catchment for you. You will be able to market your program well. You'll be able to reach out to the community, the parent community, because those preschools are anyways being serviced, right? Parents are enrolling their children, parents are going, children are going. So we understand that actually, okay, fine, that there is a good catchment there. Number one. Number two, coming to your point of the area model, right? Or the master franchise model. Yes, we do have a master franchise model as well, right? And we give out territorial rights, right? As for a master franchisee, right? So we give out cities again, depending on the potential. Now, if supposing it is Karnataka, for example, right? So maybe, we can look at Bangalore as a city. Bangalore as one territory, right? And maybe the rest of Karnataka as another territory for somebody else, right? So we need to understand, again, the territorial divide. And we also need to understand that, the earning potential for the franchisee, or the master franchisee, or the area franchisee. So when you talk of the commercials for a territorial right, plus the area franchise will need to invest 1.5 lakh rupees towards the sports equipment, because he'll have to run a model center of his own. So in 11.5 lakh rupees, we can give out a master franchise, or we can give out an area franchise of Sporty Beans.
Which is very helpful, because as a master, then you will be able to sell more franchises under you, and you get additional income, which is actually a bigger income, that you will share the franchise fees and the royalties ongoing from center. Say if I become your master franchise for Bangalore, then I bring in maybe 25 centers under me. So each of the center which is sold after that, you get share of franchise fees. You would like to highlight what is the sharing you giving to each master for a franchise fees and a royalty?
Absolutely, absolutely, Mr. Maria. So you're absolutely right. So what happens in a master franchise model is that when we are taking an upfront fee, right? So we then divide the franchise fee. So if the franchise fee is going to be 2 lakh rupees, right? So every franchise fee or every sign up that we make, 50% actually goes to the franchisee or the area franchisee, and 50% of that comes to the brand. Similarly, again, in the royalty part, 15% is that we're taking 15% from the business from the sub-franchisee, 7.5 or 50% of that is retained by the area franchisee, and 50% comes to the brand.
Which makes it very attractive, because if you have a territory which has 25 centers and you get 1 lakh of rupee each center as a franchise fees, you actually make up 25 lakh rupees. So you make actually much more money, and then you have residual incomes which would continue to come from the royalties and so on.
From the royalties.
Yeah. So Karan, very, very helpful, and I have to run for another webinar, because now these days we are running from one webinar to another webinar. So I would have to be excused. We believe in your business. We believe in your brand. We believe in you as founders, all three of you. And at Franchiseindia, we were always very excited to work with you. And I feel that this is the right opportunity, and you have been very particular to design a special model which has never been done. And just to tell our audience, typical franchise for Sporty Beans historically has been 12 to 15 lakhs of investment. They brought the franchise fees to a lowest level just to encourage people to get in business, because we are also at Franchiseindia encouraging our brands that at this time, it is a service to a nation if we encourage entrepreneurship, get people into business, and they would start making some earnings. This business is a beautiful business, very good for women entrepreneurs, because they are much more sensitive on kids, or maybe couple to start together as a business model. So we're very excited about you. So I will let Sonia continue to lead the discussion and pick up some question. And when you end, I think you should also share your email ID with everybody so people can also reach out to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will have to be.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karan. I seem to have covered all the questions, and maybe if you want to pick up any questions from the chat box, you can do that. I seem to have covered all. There's somebody who wants to know if there's any international presence which the brand has, one. And second is, I think somebody wants to still elaborate on the master franchisee model. What we can do is, Santosh, we can come on a one-on-one call with you after the seminar. And I would request, Karan, while we're taking up these, and maybe when we conclude on that, maybe you can also leave your own email ID, the website of Sporty Beans, and also the phone number, so that our teams can facilitate these calls. And somebody who wants to even directly get in touch with you, they could do that.
Sure. I'll just put my email ID down.
Ashna, I'm not able to view questions which are put before 4:27. If there's any important question that you think can be taken up, because I relogged and I seem to have all those questions deleted. So I've covered everything after 4:27. But before that, if I've missed something which has not been discussed, we can pick that up.
So, ma'am, so before that, we had the queries related to the investment, and obviously as per the location, which is one-to-one query, we can set up a call again with Karan. Otherwise, most of the queries you, Gaurav sir, and Karan has already marked. Most of the guys, they really wanted to know about Yuvraj, whether we can use his picture or not. But let me check once again. So our participants spoke about, they asked about the investment area, which we have covered.
I see one question which has been repeated a couple of times by different investors. Somebody wanted to understand what kind of area or land is required. So guys, we don't need any kind of land or a bigger area. It has to be a pillarless. That's very important. We cannot have pillars. If there's a closed area, it need not have pillar. And maybe an ideal combination can be both indoor and outdoor. So a lot of community centers that you see in gated communities, or even clubs, where rather Karan is operating in Pune. It's Pune Club, which has about 350 students, kids, Karan, if I'm not wrong. And while the
Yes.
weather in Pune is great, all the 12 months, but there are times which is raining and they use the indoors. So if you're able to get perhaps a structure which has both indoors and outdoors, great. But even if not, it is important that it has to be a pillar-less place, because that eats up a lot of place, and kids would need space for running around and moving around. And pillars obstruct a lot of movement.
That's correct.
Masood wants to know, Karan, what kind of royalties are we paying on the revenue which is being generated? What is your royalty structure? Is that a fixed amount? Is that a fixed amount, or that's a percentage of the total revenue which a franchisee makes?
Right. So it's a percentage, right, of the total revenue, right? That the franchisee makes. So the percentage is about 15%.
Okay. I have a lot of requests coming in, Karan. I'm sure you can also see a lot of people would like to also have a direct discussion with you. Some have premise already, and one of our viewers from Kerala already has a school which he's running. Perhaps he wants to run something inside the school. Vinay wants to know what kind of equipment the brand provides and what is the cost of those equipments in the total investment. He seems to have missed out, but if you would want to repeat that for him.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no sweat. So, Vinay, the total cost of the equipment is 1.5 lakh, right? So, like I said, that we actually source these equipment for all our 9 different sports, all-related sports that we teach in the children, right? And these equipments are actually sourced from 3 to 4 different countries, where we ensure that the material that we supply to you, or the material that is sourced, is all rubberized, foam-based, and it is all child size and child safe. And the cost of the material is 1.5 lakh rupees.
Thanks, Karan. I think we seem to have covered almost all the questions. While some of these interactions would require one-on-one detailed discussions with the people on the webinar. If there's any final word that you want to give to the audience, and before we do that, my final word would be to everybody, guys, this is an investment and this is a business where don't expect, most of the businesses are very high on the investment, where a capex deployment is very high, and investors or operators, they look at return on the investment. Here you need to work and look at return on the time that you put in. This is not, like I said, this is not a passive business. We need not just investors, we need enterprising entrepreneurs who takes the training themselves and understand how to run the business. You need to have, first of all, maybe a passion for sports, children, and second, you need to have an entrepreneur spirit. And third, I would say a lot of this community building, local community building, which means that you need to have enough local marketing is something somebody I saw wanted to also understand the marketing, how we do it. We need somebody who can also have a lot of local marketing ability, where he's able to reach around maybe the schools, the community centers, and also the neighborhood to get as much as admissions as possible. So, and this is my final word. And also, I would say in these times when people are looking at investments which kind of reduces their risk, I feel this is one investment that I would also personally feel gives you a lot of risk reduction, because there's no investment in the real estate. So to say, these are very fluid or flexible spaces one can get in. Even when you want to leave, even if you want to relocate, that's very easy. And Karan, correct me here if that's wrong. So even if you want to relocate, there is no loss on the capital that you've deployed on the interiors. That's one big point. And today, a lot of people are investing big time on the interiors, and a lot of capital gets wasted, which is a depreciating cost. So this is one plus point. And considerably the investment has been brought down by almost I would say 30%, looking and considering the times we are in. And anyone who wants to have now a call, we can have all of you post this webinar, or tomorrow the entire day one-on-one call. And I think Karan already put his details on the chat box, which everybody can go through. Karan, any last words for the audience which is present on this webinar?
Yeah. Thanks. Sonia, thank you so much, for summing it up and, highlighting all the important points that you rightly said. So I would only reiterate one or two things here. One is that I am very, very confident of my business model, of our business model that we have created. especially in these times, right, when we're living actually in a corona world or a post-corona world. And we are super confident as entrepreneurs that we are here to change the game, right? And when we say that we are here to change the game, we are doing everything that it takes, right, to reach out to the parent community, not only the parents actually who are enrolled with us, right? Even the inquiries that are there with our 60, 65 plus centers, we have instructed all our business partners to reach out to them in every possible way, explain to them how important it is to actually physically engage your child in this time, right? He should not become sedentary, right? The child should not become, just a couch potato. I'm repeating it, right? But I'm saying that actually the addiction to mobile, the addiction to electronic devices is actually far and it's very deep, right? So, I mean, you need to actually have some freshness in the mind. You need to see the concentration of the child actually, I mean, is going to get lost, right? And here we are talking actually about a post-corona world. We're talking about actually, I mean, living in this particular. So I am very, very confident, right, as an entrepreneur, as one of the founders actually of the business, that we are here to change the game and we are here to contribute actually to society, that what they need today is important and they need to understand that a healthy child, right, is always going to be a happy child, right? So with that, Sonia, I think these are the two bits that maybe I could say to end the session from my side. And I put in my email ID, I put in my telephone number, I put in even our website address. So anyone wants to get in touch with me or wants to get in touch with us through Franchise India, please feel free to call us anytime, right? We are always available for you. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating in the webinar and coming and listening to us. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much, Karan. Thank you so much. Ashna, any last words from you, and then we can wind up.
Sure. So thank you so much, Sonia ma'am, for all your insights, all your feedback and suggestion to each one of us. Thank you so much, Karan, for sparing time for us and giving us this particular webinar. As suggested by Sonia ma'am and Karan, we have circulated our details. You can touch base with Franchise India as well as Sporty Beans team for further one-to-one call. We got some good queries from your side. We definitely get back to you for face-to-face, one-to-one call with you guys. Look forward to have great interaction with you. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. Thank you. Stay safe.